Okay, so hi, Ellie, and thank you for joining us tonight. Well, actually, today, right now, you are in Germany, and in Germany right now,
Yes,
it's approximately, I think, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, right?
yes, you're right.
Okay, so Ellie, please introduce to the audience a little bit about yourself and what you do, and how I know you.
All right. So, hello, Ronnie. First of all, long time no see.
Yeah, it's been a long
So, my
time.
name is my name is Elisabeth, and I'm a 26 years old student from Zhejiang University. That's also how I actually got to know you, Ronnie. So we know each other from China. But currently, due to the situation, I'm finding myself back in Germany, living with my parents. So a little throwback in time.
Yeah, but I mean, that could be good, right? You don't have to worry about rent or about food or about anything, right?
Yeah, that is true. I'm not living the worst life, I have to admit, at the moment. More in detail, my family lives in Bavaria, so one of the 16 states of Germany, and it is also the state that is hit the worst from the pandemic at the moment.
Okay.
So with both like the highest numbers of infected people and also the highest numbers of death so far.
Oh, okay. So in your region, within Germany, you have the highest numbers in terms of the affected.
Exactly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It
So,
is
sorry.
also due to the location of the state of Bavaria, because it also borders to Austria, Switzerland, and Czech Republic. So we're pretty close to Italy as well,
Oh, okay.
which is like one of the most dangerous or affected places in
Yeah, I
Europe.
would say that Italy, and later on our show, either this week or next week, we should have a few guests from Italy to explain to us and give us an update on the situation in their. No, Germany is one of the rare countries where the coronavirus has not really spread so rapidly. I think it's part of the German efficiency, right? You guys are good at handling pretty much everything. So can you please tell us what is the current situation now in Germany, aside from your particular region?
Yes. So, as you said, in Germany, the numbers of infected people are actually quite high, but the number of death is really low, which is supposed to be because of widespread testing, which is done a lot. So, we try to track how people got affected in the first place or infected so that these ways are cut. And also because of very strict social distancing measures, which were introduced around 5 weeks ago by now,
Okay.
and have also shown their efficiency. Plus, also our hospitals are or medical services are pretty efficient and also sufficient, which is probably even more important.
Right. So basically, the hospitals that you have in Germany are staffed with, good doctors with the right resources, with enough resources to handle and to deal with this type of, situation. And I think those are two fundamental factors, right? Okay.
Exactly.
Ellie, so how has the coronavirus personally affected you and your family during this time period?
Yeah, okay. So personally, me, as I mentioned before, I could not go back to my campus in China. I had to travel back home to Germany. But my dad, for example, he works as a freight forwarder in a freight forwarder company, and he still goes to work during the weekdays. So most of the people are actually working from home at the moment, but he is still allowed to go there. Nevertheless, since most of the companies have introduced shortened working hours simply due to the lack of economic growth or also demand at the moment, he is now also on obligated holiday at home, whereas my mother, who is selling cosmetics online and from home, her life hasn't changed much.
So the
Yet,
coronavirus hasn't really affected your mother, right?
no, not really. Yet, for example, which might be interesting, my sister, she is pregnant at the moment.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. You're about to become
Thank you
an
very
aunt,
much.
right?
So she lives in Munich with her boyfriend, and of course, for her, she's like one of the danger groups to be infected or more likely to be infected. So for her, especially, social distancing is very important, which means we haven't visited her in around 2 months. she hasn't seen anybody else but her boyfriend.
And she's pregnant. How far along is she?
Halfway through.
She's halfway through, so she's at the 4 and a half month mark, right?
Yes.
And the baby is expected to be born on which date?
The end of July, as far as I'm concerned.
The end
Yeah.
of July. Okay, so hopefully by the time that little baby is born, this pandemic will be a thing of the past, right?
Let's hope so, even though German officials are a little bit more pessimistic about that. I
Okay.
guess that is also just the German mentality.
Right. So let me ask you. So so when this pandemic was in its hardest hit time, you were currently out of China, right? Where were you at the time? Were you traveling?
Can you be a little bit more specific? What do you consider the hardest or
Oh,
the heat of
so
the pandemic?
basically, oh sorry. Well, basically, what I meant to say was you were not allowed to come back into China, or you voluntarily chose to stay in Germany.
Ah, okay. So at the time, in mid-January, I traveled to Cambodia
Okay.
and stayed there for 4 weeks and was supposed to go back to the campus then to China. But by the time I was supposed to fly back into China, they already said that students wouldn't be allowed back on campus if they have left already.
Yeah, because as you know, the Chinese government they recently issued a ban on most foreigners with visas and or permits from coming back into China. But
Yeah,
yeah, so I guess you were part of the group that just didn't come back in time. So
that is
but
true.
now you're expecting to come back if all goes well in September, correct?
Yes, I really hope so, since the situation is easing up in China and still very or handled very strictly here in Germany.
Okay.
I hope to be back in China in September.
We hope to have you back very, very soon. So, Ellie, in terms of your school tuition, how is that being handled? Is that being frozen, or is the school going to, give you back the money that you paid for the spring semester, or how does that work?
Hmm. So Zhejiang University offers online courses, which means it is basically business as usual,
Okay.
only via online classes. So as far as I'm concerned, there are no refunds on the tuition. What they do offer is, for example, since I'm not allowed at the dormitory at the moment, but did pay for a single room there, the time period that I'm not allowed in the room right now is going to be, how to say this, is going to be like a little voucher for next year's
Okay. So it's gonna be
accommodation fee.
it'll be like a sort of credit that they can apply towards your dormitory fees for next year. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so, Ellie, during this time that you've been stuck at home, what have you been doing to keep yourself busy? During this lockdown.
Well, to be honest, I think I've never been sporting more than I've been doing these days back home now. But of course, also some nice days of Netflix have been in there, and just trying to call some people, like keeping social, not just being by myself, and enjoy the beautiful weather outside because the rain is on a never seen low here.
No, really? Wow. And I was just gonna say, I mean, you look fantastic. I mean, you were always a very gorgeous girl, but now you look better than ever. So I think this coronavirus
Thank you.
has a silver lining, right? It has the ability to make already pretty girls even prettier.
That is a likely possibility, yes.
Okay, and Ellie, one last question before you're on your way to go run or do some other type of sport.
Yes.
What kind of advice, being from your country, a country that has handled this virus pretty well, what kind of
Mhm.
advice would you give to other people from other countries who are in the midst of this pandemic and who might be feeling a little bit low?
Hmm. So, as for me, since I'm not knowing anybody who's seriously affected by the virus, I want to stress that because I'm sure other people might feel differently about it. But I guess it's just important to keep your body and mind busy and to stay healthy. So we'll all make the best out of the situation and just try not to get caught up with conspiracy theories or try to find help in radical political groups. Just be there for one another and focus on how you can be the best version of yourself at the moment and with the given circumstances.
Okay, great. I think those are very wise words, and I hope that most people can take those words into, can take heed in those words and, try to keep themselves busy during this time. Okay, well, Ellie, I really appreciate the fact that you've taken time to talk to us today, and
Always.
I hope you keep safe, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again in September. Okay, so thank you, Ellie, for all your help. And I hope
Thank you very much.
if you have time tomorrow night to catch my show live and in person.
Yeah, that would be great. I hope to find some time too.
Okay, great. All right, thank you, Ellie, and have a good day. Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.